Without quiet, where is peace? Drinking the nectar of truth, experiencing something real. What is meditation really? Is it just some sort of fluff, concentration technique, or is it something else? What if it could be a way to make ourselves better? You can use concentration and meditation to make yourself even more full of love and wisdom and reverence and gratitude, joy, a higher intellect, perseverance and courage, to be more nurturing and creative and compassionate, just to name a few. The word yoga literally means to unite with these qualities. So, many people just go with what they feel, right? If something is bad, they ride that wave. You can always choose to fill your life with celebration, or you can choose just to continue to ride the waves. So meditation is simply a tool to choose happiness. This allows you to condition yourself. It's one tool of many tools to create a better life. And through this changing of your heart and mind, you'll automatically have a better life because your words and your actions and everything you do, your very mind will be different. So here's how it works. Number one, it allows you to build your own emotional reality. Now, we all know that life presents us with many challenges and obstacles. We can feel emotionally influenced by people and situation, and often that can be extremely challenging. What we're talking about is building a resiliency. What we're talking about is inoculating yourself against stress and conditioning your nervous system to be beyond the influence of what surrounds you. And you do this through practice. And then you can build on those feelings that you're choosing for yourself with confidence and momentum. This allows you to step into the driver's seat of your life. And instead of just being whirled around by whatever happens to you, you can choose with intention. And this, of course, helps us float above the obstacles instead of being muddied by them. It's very simple. We all know if you condition yourself with anger, you will be the one that suffers. If you choose to feed anger, you're the one that will be led to suffering through that choice. Now, the opposite is true. You can condition yourself with happiness, simple joy. You'll be happy. So it's very simple, but by focusing on it and using the proper tools, meditation allows you to find a deeper experience of love, clarity, and joy. And then simply by being in that state, you're becoming one with that. You're changing your personality. You're choosing a different way. And you become more flexible, more open-minded, and your life is better. You become more of what you feel in that way, and then it builds and it builds to the point where even challenges in the world can fall away because you're more of a full embodiment of your own joy. So this allows you to take responsibility and to build your own emotional experience, which is so important. And we don't often have the tools for that. We were never taught that. We were never taught the simple results of our actions. We just go and follow things blindly, right? So once taught properly and once practiced properly, we can simply choose how we want to be and choose that and choose that. Imagine it like exercise. You know, if you put in certain self-effort into exercise, it's going to have results. The same thing with food, the same thing with money. The more you put in self-effort in different areas, the better you're going to be. Well, what meditation is really a big part of it is rising above all of these past cycles, building our own emotional reality, choosing a way that actually leads to happiness and fulfillment. Now, we were never taught that. That's the big problem. What else does it do? Number 2, it helps us resolve unconscious issues. We've all had so many experiences in this life, and a lot of them have stuck with us. A lot of them have shaped how we think and feel, and we replay the same cycles over and over and over again. Sometimes we get locked into what's comfortable instead of what's best. It's almost like the pain of the past is following us around like a shadow, and anything can trigger it. A good example is always road rage. Let's say someone cuts you off, and maybe that makes you very angry. But why is that seed of anger there just waiting to pop up? Maybe it's a misdirection because of how you feel about your family or your finances or your work or some sort of pain from the past. And it's not about road rage or blame or judgment. It's about self-awareness and being conscious of what we're choosing to do. Because when we let those cycles rule our life, we become more united with them. We become just a little bit more angry. We give in to that. And this allows us to have a little bit of choice instead of just going around and around those endless cycles. And it's not always comfortable, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that. But when these unconscious issues come up, you either choose to continue the momentum or you choose to break the momentum. And meditation can be one way to do that. So when you sit down, some people try to quiet their mind. They try to force an experience. And their mind and thoughts won't stop, right? What happens instead? Unconscious issues, feelings, thoughts, these things can come to the surface. These are things that need to be resolved internally, sometimes externally, but they come to mind. And just by being present to them, we can say, that's not true, or just because I felt that, maybe it's no longer like that. We allow it to come to the front and to digest it and to give its place instead of just push it down in the background. That's one of the problems we do, is we push it into the background, we just let it sit there like it doesn't affect us anymore. And it just stays around us, always on our shoulder, whispering dirty thoughts. And those little fragments of our ego can be dealt with and resolved and brought to a better place. But we have to put in the work. So there's many different ways to do that. And meditation is one way. It's not important really which path you take, as long as you do the work that's necessary, right? Because life beyond all of these limits is much better than life within them. And we also step into a place of power because we can control who we are. And it makes everything else better. But we've got to be willing to just be open, willingness to explore. Many people are open to travel, but they're not open to travel within. And ultimately, which one is more important? Which one is really going to bring you lasting happiness, right? To truly let go, to truly grow, to be a better version of yourself, which can potentially make all of your tomorrows better, which can potentially make every interaction you have with every person better. It's not a momentary, fleeting experience. It's literally you've done the work to take responsibility for yourself and your past and have chosen something that's better for you. And that's how we make the unconscious conscious and bring ourselves into happiness. It's how it works. And that's how we resolve these unconscious issues, right? And in that way, you can use your concentration or meditation to experience and let go of fears and angers and hate and more. All those things that bind us, all those things that keep us stuck, all those just natural, perhaps, feelings that arise. We have the choice to ignore them or to give them the attention they need. and to resolve them. Many times when these things come to our mind, just like in a normal day-to-day, we can have a negative reaction to them, or we try to ignore them, or we just explode, or we don't know how to deal with them. And instead, we can put some time aside, put some time with ourselves, and all of these things that are there, yourself that is begging to be resolved, could potentially come up. And wise people use the opportunities to resolve their underlying issues. If I'm feeling upset about something or limited, or I get, I'm like, what's going on here? I try to really explore what's underneath the surface, because many times it can be misdirection. Like, maybe I'm angry about this, but I really wanted something that I wasn't getting. So instead of just going into the anger and riding that cycle, I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Be honest with myself. Let's look underneath the surface. Okay, I didn't even know I was really feeling that. And in that way, I brought a little bit of attention to it. It shifted a little bit, but we can still bring it to the front and just truly let go of it. Or you can continue to maintain that cycle. It's your choice. It's whatever you want to fill your time in your life with. And I'm saying you can choose to fill your life with whatever you want. So why would you choose hate, anger, and fear? All of that stuff is just going to drag you down. So instead, we can use all of these opportunities, because naturally it's going to come up throughout the day, to resolve the underlying issues, and also using time with ourselves to resolve these underlying issues, be emotionally honest, and grow beyond that which was previously limiting us. And meditation can offer a great opportunity for this resolve, because if you're just reducing the stimuli around you, if you're going internal with your focus, you're less likely to ignore it. If I'm on a roller coaster ride, it's very easy to ignore that maybe I'm upset with my wife for a great deal of many things, right? But those only build and build and build, and they get misdirected, and it's expressed in passive-aggressive ways, or it comes out in ways that are less skillful. And I'm talking about skillfully navigating these issues by taking responsibility for them, by digesting and resolving them, and then ultimately transcending them. And that's how we can deal with the biggest barrier that the average person will deal with when trying to meditate, is dealing with the noisy mind. They sit down and all these thoughts and all these feelings, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes. And the most important thing is just be willing to explore that. Be willing to go on the ride and not trying to think it has to be a certain way. Because there's like, I have to be silent, or I have to be concentrating this, or I have to do that. Now, there's value in certain techniques. There's value in certain ways of focusing our intellect, and there's a million different ways potentially to meditate. But the most important thing is not what you call it or what you do. It's that you escape your own ignorance, right? So as the mental chatter comes up, one way is just to be present to it and just allow it to express, because those things are there underlying. And for most people, they get very overwhelmed, because that's the biggest obstacle to them experiencing the peace that can be found within silence and meditation. So instead, we really just want to be open and be willing to explore your own mind with compassion and acceptance, and then we can transcend the turbulent waves and thoughts. We can rise above. We can let go. We can truly become a better version of ourselves and have internal peace. If not, those underlying issues will limit you. You'll have opportunity in your life, but you won't be able to grab it. You will have experiences, and you'll go inside and you'll go back to what's comfortable, and you'll recreate the same mistakes. You won't learn the lessons. So it's much, much, much better to take out the garbage before it becomes an issue, right? It's much, much better to dissolve these limited states than let them become a big problem in your life and try to deal with them when they're creating havoc. so you can proactively stay ahead of it. And that's very, very powerful. Thank you for being open and for being a person who's open and willing to grow. I'm so happy to have had the amazing experiences of traveling the world and learning from great people. My goal is simply to bring you their message in a way that is easy and without any beliefs or philosophy or agenda. So I invite you to continue to support this community by liking, commenting, and subscribing. It goes a long way to spread hope, and I simply want to share what has helped me become a better person and to contribute to this world being a better place. Because through changing our hearts and our mind, we can lift up the world. So thank you for doing it together.